Hello everybody, this is Mr. Cohen and we are going to be looking at the Benward book on Chapter 4. Let me bring this up for you. Chapter 4, and it's week 6 of VHS. So we're looking at figured bass. But before you really have a good chance to understand figured bass, you have to get chords and their inversions, triads. Remember, we're dealing with triads now, okay? So I've started grading week 5 Noteflight. And not everybody is writing triads specifically, so let's get into what that means. Strictly speaking, a triad is any three-tone chord. However, we're talking about European music, 17th through 19th centuries. So this right here, right? A space, and a space, or it could be the adjacent line, line, line. That's what we're talking about. So we don't want to see any notes split all over the place. Some of you have even put like an E to an F to an A and said that's a chord. Well, it's not a triad, so it's at least not in the sense that we're talking about. The term root, the triad root, refers to the note on which a triad is built. So a C major triad has a C as the primary note. Are we good? This matters. A major triad has a major third at the bottom and then a perfect fifth from the root up to the top note to look like this. So your major third, if you don't know your intervals, you have to go review. You must. And then a perfect fifth on top of that. So really it's a third and a third, right? That's what makes it a triad. But a major triad begins with a major third. Where are we over here? This is also going to be a major triad, so it just looks different, starting on E flat. A minor triad consists of a minor third and a perfect fifth. Easy, right? That's the difference between major and minor triads. Which is the first interval, major third or a minor third? Minor triad starts with a minor third. Diminished triad, and you've all done exercises on these from last week, is a diminished, it's a minor third and a diminished fifth. Diminished fifth. It's not a fourth, you guys. Not an augmented fourth. It's a diminished fifth. That matters. Augmented triad, which is a little bit rare, especially in the way we're using chord progressions, is a major third, and there's another major third on top of that. So an augmented fifth. It's not a sixth that's diminished. It's a fifth. So C to a G. It's a line to a line or a space to a space, as the case may be. These things matter. You might find questions along the way that ask about triad stability, so please read these yourselves and get to know what is weak, what is strong, what is strongest. Triad names, this will definitely come into play. Maybe not right away, but it could be in the questions. Tonic, the very first chord, built on the tonic note, you guys. It's built on Do. Supertonic, mediant, subdominant, and dominant. These are going to be appearing all the time. Submediant is common. Leading tone chord is going to be diminished in a major scale. And there's your tonic again. Primary triads. Tonic, dominant, subdominant. Okay, this not so much about chord building, it's about chord understanding. Now, chord inversions. If you already struggled with interval inversions, you're going to struggle right now with triad inversions. So review, please. If it's a root position chord, it just goes 1, 3, 5 in order, low to high. Any inversion takes the root and puts it up at the top. Whatever was the bottom note goes to the top. So you see how that's not, it doesn't look like our traditional triad, line, 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 because it starts on the third of the chord. And you can invert it. That's a first inversion, by the way, if it starts on the third of the chord. If it starts on the fifth of the chord and then the other two fill in above it, that's called a second inversion. So you have to know your intervals and you have to know how these fit together. No matter what the arrangement of the root and fifth factors, the triad is in first inversion if the third factor is the lowest sounding pitch. These are all C major chords, okay? No matter what they do with the upper notes, it begins on the third. We good with that? First inversion chord. Second inversion chord. No matter what the arrangement of the root and third factors, the triad is in the second inversion if the fifth factor, or so, by the way, is the lowest sounding pitch. C major chord, G, or so, the fifth fifth of the chord, is it's the root at that point, right? It's the base of the chord. Everything else is above it. So you have root position, you have first inversion, you have second inversion. There are other ways. Look at all these other things you can do. Not worried about it. Even seventh chords. I'm not going to go into the detail right now. You read the history, you read the applications. It's all going to be big. Roman numeral analysis. Now, this is what's going to lead you to the figured bass. You have to know the Roman numeral analysis first. So, you've got your 1, 4, and 5 are the major chords. They're uppercase. 2, 3, 6, and 7 are lowercase, but 7 has that little diminished symbol right there. Hard to find on a PC, you guys, but you can look it up. You can do it. It's there. Noteflight has instructions for it too. It's in the lesson. In minor scales, 3, 6, and 7 are your majors. 1, 4, and 5 are your minors, although later you'll find out that we make alterations like harmonic minor to get, they're more common to get a major fifth. And that's why we have harmonic minor scale at all. And then your 2 is diminished. In harmonic minor, 3 is augmented. One of the rare ones. And here it's all laid out for you. The information is there. You really got to look at it. Okay. Different ways to look at the root, first and second inversions. But here's how we label it. If it's a root position chord, just give it a Roman numeral. If it's an inversion, okay, first inversion gets the little 6, second inversion gets the 6-4. They are shorthand symbols to represent intervals above the lowest sounding note. So if we go from the root position, which is the third, right? It's a first inversion chord, up to the top note, that's a 6th. If we go here, because the other ones, we don't ever mark that it's a third. That's just not important. It's a 6-3. We don't write down that it's a 6-3. It's just a 6 chord. A 1-6-4 is a second inversion chord. So the top interval is a 6th away. The next interval is a 4th away. It's a 6-4 chord, second inversion. Memorize it, learn it, love it, know it. It's all here for you to see. We're never going to write 5-3. That's a root position. We don't write 6-3. We call it a 6. And 6-4 is what it is. Seventh position chords are there. Here's your shorthand. We only use the shorthand side. This is just too much information for us to write down. Are we good? Here's examples of it in classical music, music of the period, already done for you. Now take a look. This is actually figured bass. Let me go back. When did that come in? Here, I skipped it. Figured bass. All right, this is this week's lesson, you guys. Figured bass consists of a bass part, a single line with figures, mostly numbers, below to indicate the type of harmony. It is an interval-based shorthand method of showing the harmony along with non-harmonic tones. That's later. Because this method saved time, musicians employed it throughout the Baroque period for keyboard accompaniments and keyboard parts for solo songs. If you ever saw the movie Amadeus, that's what the keyboard player is reading. All of those different ensembles. It also exemplifies the Baroque tendency to emphasize the outer voices, soprano and bass, in contrast to Renaissance. That's history. So it was a shorthand so that the arrangers didn't have to write out every single note. And keyboard players could improvise off of that too, but they knew from reading these types of symbols, well, not those, next page, sorry about that. These types of symbols, you got your bass note, and that's the 6 tells you it's a first inversion. So that's not the root of the chord, right? So it's actually an A major chord, isn't it? So that's the kind of thing you're trying to get to know. Read every word. Read every word. Figured bass symbols. If there are none, it's root position. Easy, right? That's your shorthand. This is what it's short for. Don't worry about all that. The 6 means it's first inversion. 6-4 means it's second inversion. This is all you're going to get. Figured bass has no Roman numerals. That's going to be important on Noteflight. Don't let me catch you writing everything possible to write. Okay, this is your chance to go over what the figured bass things are. Please do the reading, you guys. I'm here to give you a lecture to help you through it, not to do it for you. When you are considering triads, note that any figured bass that contains a 6 but not a 4 means first inversion. If it's 6 and 4, it's second inversion. Then there's more stuff. Okay, first you got to master that. Root, first inversion, second inversion. But then, if they put a sharp or a flat or a natural alone beneath a bass note or above whatever is written for the figured bass, it means that the third above it is whatever that says, whatever the accidental is. A sharp, flat, or a natural below a 6 indicates a first inversion triad with the third interval above the bass note sharped, flatted, or naturaled. Any sharp, flat, or natural sign on either side of a number indicates that this interval above the bass note should be sharp, flatted, or natural, depending on that symbol. We're not going to see that too much, but if you do see it, you know what it means. A slash mark through a number, this you might see, through a number indicates that this interval above the bass note should be raised a half step. Slash means raise it a half step. It means the same as a sharp sign beside the number. The plus sign also has the same meaning. I don't think you're going to see that in anything we do. If none of these symbols are present, assume that you should follow the key signature in realizing figured bass symbols. I'm going fast, and it's not even that fast, okay? So that's the gist of figured bass, and here's some nice practice for you. Here's your root position. It's just an A major. Well, it's not a major chord. It's an A chord. And then if you have a B in the bass, but it's a 6, that means it's already a first inversion. So G, and then B, and then you're going to have, well, it's a G. It starts on a G, so you're going to go G, B, and D sharp. Am I right? We're going to raise the third above it. Okay, so there's all of that. Read it, read it, read it. Then there's also an assignment for us in Noteflight on macro analysis. Sometimes people find it easy to use macro analysis before they do Roman numeral analysis, so they have all the chords laid out for them. Do the reading. It's really just a shorthand. It's this right here. Kind of like you might see if you're using a real book, fake book, real book, whatever you want to call it. Chord symbols. The way we're using it, they're not going to write major, right? If it's an A chord, it's just a capital letter. Minor or anything smaller than a major chord is lowercase letters. This means that it's a circle progression, and we haven't talked about that yet. So you're writing in the name of the chord. This is the same chord, so they didn't write it twice. Get how that works? It's an inversion. System employs letters to indicate the roots of the chords, accompanied by specific symbols. Notice up here, we don't care about inversions when we're writing macro analysis. We're just putting the name of the chord. So that's really what it does. Major triads, capital letters. Minor triads, lowercase. Diminished, lowercase with that circle, raised circle symbol. Augmented is the capital letter with a plus. Are we good? And then there's examples of all that, and please look at them all. Get to know them, love them. We won't use them a lot, as it says in our lesson, but you're gonna. There is a lesson on them, or there is an assignment on them. Popular music symbols, like that. That's the fake book, that sheet music that you buy. So let's go take a look at some Noteflight. Notice Cohen assignment, right? So this one isn't shared with you. This is just me, but it is the very assignment. So in 4.7, let me scroll up here. There are 10 of these in various positions and types. They're 4-part, soprano, alto, tenor, bass. You're going to write in the Roman numerals as it says to enter, based on the key. See, the keys are right there too. To enter Roman numerals, type K while you press the bass note. Well, I'll show you. For inversions, you're just going to put a 6 or a 6/4. It'll automatically show up in Noteflight when you hit enter or spacebar. For diminished chords, write a lowercase o after the numeral. And that's really all it's. The first example is already worked out for you. So here we have a G, E, C, and a G. So if you spell that all out, what do you think you get? C, E, G. That's a C major chord in the key of G. So if we go G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a 4 chord, which we know is major, but it starts on a G, C, E, G. So that's the second inversion because it starts on the 5th. You with me on that? C, E, G, second inversion chord. Because root position there, second position, first inversion there, second inversion there. 6/4 chord, 4/6/4. Next one, key of F major. Now notice you're going to have different types of one natural minor, but a lot of harmonic minor. Automatically tells me I have to be aware that there might be a raised 5th in there. So in the key of F major, I've got a B flat and a D and a G and another G. And I doubled the G, that might be the root of the chord, right? G, B flat, D, that sounds like a G minor chord. If we're in the key of F, F, G, that's a 2 chord, am I right? Click on the bass, I type the letter K, and there's my cursor. That's a 2. 1, 2. You with me? This is real. I'm actually doing that. Then, if it's a G, B flat, D chord, that sounds like a second inversion. Am I right? Because G is the root, B flat is the 3rd, D is the 5th, starts on the B flat. I'm going to type a 6 and hit return. And look at that, it pops right in. I'm not going to do any more of these for you. You're going to do them. Take careful note of everything you see. Here's your save button, by the way. Just click save. It shouldn't ask you to type in a new name. It shouldn't do copy of. Just save, if you please. Speaking of which, I will go back. This is what I really see, by the way. When I look at last week's assignments, the ones I'm grading now, I see there are 20 copies of this one and 21 copies of this one. Somebody didn't do that, but they did the other one. And there's still 2 more people who didn't even do this, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's see, I just did 4.7, so I'll look at 4.9. Let it load. This is my home Wi-Fi. You can hear my family. Okay, take it up to the top. These are 4-part chorales by Bach, the best ones, right? Under the staves, indicate the figured bass. We're not going to be using Roman numerals. It's figured bass. That would be used to obtain the chords written by Bach. You have to write the figured bass for chords that are already there. Do not indicate Roman numerals. Where a sharp is required, use Shift 3 or the pound sign is what that is. Same thing. Where a natural is required is a good one. Shift 4, which looks like the $sign. So, none of these are done for you. Good. Get a load of this. When I look at that, I can't see the number next to it. Can I slide? Nope, that guy won't slide because you can slide a lot of the motion around. All right, let's look at the notes. Let's look at the key signature. 3 sharp, so are we talking about A right here? I think we're talking about A. So that's an A in the bass. We got a C sharp right there and an E, and then there's an A again. So that, to me, you guys, straight up sounds like an A major chord in the key of A. So that's a 1, but we're not typing a 1, are we? It's a root position. It starts on the name of the chord. So I'm going to go K and leave it alone. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to leave it alone. That one didn't require anything. So should I find you an inversion? Maybe so. Let's see, if we look at this chord, C sharp twice, with an E and an A. Well, that's interesting. A, C sharp, and E. So isn't that an inversion of the first chord? Go right here, type K. First inversion is what? Just a 6? Type a 6. And there it is. I don't know why it's so far down. That is very, very far. I'm going to use my arrow key to bring it up. Much better. Is that what it told me to do? Yeah, it says to use the K key. There you go. That's the gist of this one. Are you with me? The next one will be in the key of 1 flat. And you're going to find, you're not going to do any Roman numerals. You're only doing the figured bass if there is any figured bass to do. I hope that helps you. Mr. Cohen, you gave us one. I know. I know. 4.10. What do we have here? I've already looked at it, but at the same time. Ah, I remember. Scroll all the way up. Macro analysis. Use K. If you have a diminished chord, it's Shift 6. And, oh, sorry. Shift 6 O. There you go. Shift 6 O. It'll give you that. Or you could type that direct. That's what it is. For augmented chords, used Shift equals, which is the same as a plus. Refer to your textbook often. Just do it. We will not use macro analysis symbols very often, but you may find this exercise helpful in learning how to analyze triads quickly without the key signature to help you. Okay, let's take a look. No key signature, so each one is its own, right? Just accidentals. Should I even touch that one? There's no. Let's go down here. I know I'm going to use a K. Ooh, put it above there. Isn't that interesting? Treble clef, B and D and F sharp. So what does that sound like? What kind of a chord is that? B and D, that's a minor third, and F sharp, that's a fifth above the B. Does that sound like a minor chord? It starts on a B, so I'm going to say B, and I think that's all I need to type, am I right? If I go back to the book, oh, go back, mister. Yeah, for a D or minor chord, I'm just doing that, just to make sure. Uh-oh, I lost what I had done. Now get a load of that. I put it in as a flat. I will know what that means. It's a lowercase b. It came out as a flat. Oh well, what are you going to do? That's how that goes. So those are your assignments. That is the overview. First, I reviewed for you, because we never talked about it before, the triads and the inversions. And then today, for this week's assignment, we talked about figured bass very quickly. And then at the end, we were doing all of this work in here too. So that is the stuff. And I hope that's helpful for you. And I'll try to set up an office hours for Sunday. Hopefully you will have at least started your assignments by then. And hopefully you will have seen this by then. See you on the other side. Bye-bye.